This evening, robbery on America Street points to a troubling trend. The Otisha saga continues after new allegations surface. Prison guards to receive mental health training in the region. America mulls more sanctions against Venezuela. And internationally, polar bears are losing weight and scientists blame global warming.
From Safe TV headquarters in South Rival Gardens, this is Safe TV Headline News with George Gonzalez.
Today is Monday, February the 5th, 2018. And this edition of Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us. A South Rhymeville man was arrested on Saturday after cocaine was found in his home. Esther Sobers has more.
Colin Hooper of 49 Blue Saki Drive, South Rhymeville, was arrested after an 18-hour standoff with ranks of the Custom Anti-Narcotics Unit. Hooper was arrested and a quantity of cocaine and several of his vehicles were seized. On Friday at around 3 p.m., Canoe agents moved into the area to conduct a search of the property after receiving information. Evidence suggests that during the raid, Hooper may have been disposing of cocaine at his home. According to Canoe, there were several traces of suspected cocaine residue discovered in various parts of the house, as well as signs of narcotics being flushed down the toilet. Ranks were able to retrieve a small quantity of cocaine from a pipe leading to the septic tank from the toilet. Hooper was originally from Allboystown, moved into Rhymeville area after purchasing the house sometime back in late 2016, early 2017. 540 grams of cocaine was retrieved during the search. Cocaine possession charges are likely to be laid shortly. Reporting for Channel 2 Headline News, I'm Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. This morning, Lance Corporal Clifton Palu of the City Constabulary appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. He was charged with the rape of a 16-year-old boy. He appeared before Chief Magistrate Ann McLennan and was not required to plead to the indictable offense, which was alleged to have taken place on August 15, 2017. Palu is accused of engaging in sexual activity with a minor who was arrested for loitering and taken into custody at the city outpost. Reportedly, while the teen was in custody, he was ordered by Palu to perform oral sex on him. The constable was remanded to prison until February 14, 2018. Several prison officers have been selected to undergo training for dealing with persons with mental illnesses. Wendell Jeffrey has more.
Then when you cut across one standard treatment for all prisoners, you are going to have adverse effects on those who require the special treatment.
Minister of Public Security Kemra Dranjatan was speaking at the opening exercises of a specialty training program for prison officers. 8 officers will be trained for 1 week on how to handle inmates dealing with mental health, drug addictions, disabilities, or other health issues. Prison Director Gladwin Samuels asserts that the last fire at the Camp Street prison has displaced those in need of specialized treatment.
Before the July 9th fire of 2017, most of those prisoners are actually housed at Camp Street where they receive daily or fortnightly care from the psychiatric department of the Georgetown Public Hospital. However, we have now been forced to spread them across the country where they're still receiving treatment.
Acting Ambassador of the UK, Mr. Ron Reamer, said that his government was pleased to fund this initiative.
It is a pleasure to be here this morning to mark the beginning of the UK-funded training, which is designed to help officers of the prison service and some members of the police force become better equipped to handle vulnerable prisoners.
Ms. Carlene Raviolo of Trinidad, one of the trainers, said that she herself suffered from mental health issues from the age of 15.
You will look at me and you will look at an example of mental diagnoses, striving and thriving and mentally well and mental well-being.
Raviolo believes that the course will be very detailed, covering a range of issues.
Intervention, we're talking about managing the prisoners, management of suicide and self-harm in the prison, and a number of other interventions ranging from screening, training, treatment, and appropriate supervision of at-risk prisoners. Whatever you learn.
Minister Ranjithan said that the course was birthed out of the recommendations of Justice Patterson's COI report on the prison fire.
There, and he talked about mentally disabled, which is obviously the case, but he also included women, he also included the sick, the disabled, and those who might be suffering from even HIV, who are in prison.
The training is funded by the British government, and there are two facilitators, one from Trinidad and Tobago and the other from Britain. For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.
3 persons were killed in 3 separate accidents over the weekend. According to police, 50-year-old Vishnu Dionarine was struck down at about 9:10 on Friday by a motor car. Thanks, Wendell. 3 persons were killed in 3 separate accidents over the weekend. According to police, 50-year-old Vishnu Dionarine was struck down at about 9:10 p.m. on Friday by motorcar PSS 918. The car was reportedly proceeding east at a fast rate of speed. Dionarine was walking on the road prior to being struck by the car. The 53-year-old driver claimed that his vision was blinded by another person's headlights. He was taken into police custody and is assisting in the investigation. Hours later, another person was killed in Berbice. 68-year-old Winston Williams died Saturday morning when a motor car hit the bicycle he was riding. A car was proceeding west along the Williamsburg Public Road when Williams decided to cross at the intersection with Dr. Tulsi Road. The elderly man sustained several injuries and was taken to the Port Morant Hospital. He was pronounced dead on arrival. And finally, on Saturday, 25-year-old Alana Ramsaran, a young mother, was killed when a minibus collided head-on with her vehicle. According to police reports, minibus BTT 3118, driven by Ram Kumar Prasad, was proceeding east along the Shunard Public Road with a load of passengers. Ramsaran was proceeding west in the opposite direction. The police said as the 2 drivers were about to pass each other, the driver of the bus alleges that Ramsaran's car suddenly swerved into his path, which resulted in the head-on collision. The driver of the bus, along with several passengers, were taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital for treatment. Don't go away, we have more news for you after the break. For the best Creole food in town, come to Ridley's Restaurant. Taste our hot meals, fresh bread, and sweet pastries. Our spacious dining hall is free for all occasions. For reservations and more, call 226-2518 or 225-7245. We're open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wrigley's Restaurant, located at 38 Robb Street, Laceytown, between King and Wellington Streets. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Ridley's Restaurant. Tasty and healthy eating.
place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you have a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princeton Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Welcome back. Yesterday's robbery of a popular America Street money changer is indicative of a troubling trend. Esther Sobers brings us that story.
Hoodie and brown pants approached Nurse with a handgun and demanded money. Nurse, who was robbed 2 months prior, refused to hand over the money. He was then shot before the man took the money and fled the scene. This robbery worries many of the money changers on America Street. According to one money changer who has been robbed in the past, robberies have become the norm again.
President and Ramachandra ain't doing nothing for nobody. I go to CDR when I get robbed on America Street. You got to sign up paper and that kind of thing and full up farm and that kind of thing before you could get for talk to you. And before them go any power, you could have talked to them and that kind of thing. You go there, then they go to secretary tell me you got to full up a paper and write in a letter and that kind of before you get for talk to you. I understand I'm going. I get robbed out here too. They put some bullet to me, I drive from south to the hospital. But thank God for Jesus, I'm still here. They come up on America Street again. They took $1.8 million for me and set a goal and that kind of thing. When they get the robbery going on, you don't see the police, you only see the police and the robbery gone. When the robbery gone, they get robbed last, and the police then come and the vehicle broke down, can't even move.
The man even showed the scars he bore from when he was robbed on the same street he still works today.
3 in my belly and 4 in my foot. I had to go to Woodlands Hospital, take out a bullet on the foot, there's $300. 300,000, I still get 1 bullet left back in my belly up to now. I still get bullet in my belly. But you hold it, so 3 in the belly, and 1 in the hip here, 1 here, and 1 there. I can show all the bullet marks on my foot, on my skin. I have no fear.
We spoke to another money changer who was robbed twice and didn't want to appear on camera because of safety reasons. He notes that police presence is needed around the area since criminals are prevalent around the town.
Yesterday when my colleague was robbed, I still had to apply my trade till up to about 7 last night, knowing that it could happen to anybody. And it could happen to anybody. Depends what business you do. It could be a vendor, it could be a money changer, it could be anybody. So the crime system need, and we know, and I know the government know where the hub of the criminal is. Right around the market, right by the Minimus Park, right in the Minimus, watching you on a daily basis like a hawk, and just in the bus watching what we're doing. So if we know that, the government's supposed to know that. So they got to make something, do that, because every time you take your money out, you look in a minibus, you look in a car park, you look up the road with 5, 6 teenage linemen. You feel a chill in your body. Someday it will happen and might happen to you.
Unfortunately, these men are not alone. There seems to be a trend developing. According to a report in Kaieteur News, there have been at least 32 gun robberies in the past 35 days. Reporting for Channel 2 Headline News, I'm Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. The French oil company Total has signed agreements to acquire interests in 2 exploration licenses offshore Guyana, the Kanji Block and the Kanuku Block. These agreements come after entering into an option agreement for the nearby Orinduk Block. Subject to the approval of relevant authorities, Total will thus own exploration rights to an area covering over 12,000 square kilometers in the Guyana Basin. Continuing his coverage of this year's Interreligious Harmony Week, Wendell Jeffrey brings us scenes from Saturday's Interfaith Harmony concert.
And I shall ever be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth thy fruits by thy own season. And thy life and thy lack shall not be.
On Saturday afternoon, several members of a variety of religious organizations participated in a concert at the National Library as part of the activities for the Interfaith Harmony Week.
Me no look your single appearance. You have to bring your daughter decent, cause Guyana I get slack from recent. Don't tell me our leaders do.
I am a terrorist. I terrorize terror. I kill injustice to make this world fairer.
The hearts of thy servants and reveal flame to proclaim your name. Make us one. Make us one.
Have differences of interpretation and understanding, although they have common.
Interfaith Harmony Week continues with discussions on religion, peace, and harmony in secondary schools across Guyana. For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. Last evening, at approximately 5:59 p.m., the Demerara-Berbice interconnected system experienced a system shutdown following a trip on the L16 transmission line linking the Good Hope and Sophia substations. System stability was adversely affected by the sudden loss of significant load, leading to the shutdown. Service restoration efforts began immediately thereafter, and the last area was repowered at 7:10 p.m. Well-known member of the Guyanese LGBT community, Otis Pearson, better known as Otisha, is being accused of having an inappropriate relationship with an underage boy. Esther Sobers brings us that story.
One of my little boy comes to see me. As I would say, Travis, I don't shame to say certain things, you know.
And that's how it all began. In an interview with AGP-TV Nightly News, well-known LGBT member Otis Pearson, better known as Otisha, spoke of having a relationship with little boys. Those comments sparked a firestorm on social media. Some questioned if by little boys he meant boys under the age of 16. Adding fuel to the fire over the weekend, suggestive photo of Otisha and a young boy circulated on the internet. Many deemed this as evidence of his predatory traits. However, on Saturday, in an exclusive interview with Channel 2, Otisha adamantly defended himself.
So, what is so blasphemous about this picture that somebody shied up? I doesn't see nothing graphic about this picture. It's not like somebody is naked. I'm wishing I can never find no naked skin picture of me or anybody in bed like that.
Yes, I think it comes because of the comment you made that you have a little boys every week, and this picture just automatically just appears with a younger person than yourself, which person are assuming he's a teenager and he attends school.
So I want to ask the public, I don't have family members. So it's me alone on earth. I don't have relatives. That's a good question to ask the public. So I don't have relatives. I cannot hug them. Or whatever position they may have seen me in. I cannot be around my family. I cannot hug them. I cannot do nothing. I must stay neutral because I'm gay. But I love my family and I'm proud of them.
According to him, the male in the photo is not underage. He is allegedly 18 years old. When I asked Otisha if he made contact with his family member since the photo was leaked, he said,
Well, I try my best to make contact today because I think it's after 4 when I came back from Tamir because I had to look after this thing. And when I came back 4, I leave my phone home, matter of fact, and when I come back, that's the first thing I see. So I try making contact, and it was futile because I noticed it was turned off. But I called back tonight, and they said I must call back.
However, someone who was close to the young man's family claims that he's 14 years old and attends a secondary school on the east coast of Demerara. Additionally, the person alleges that the relationship between Otisha and the male is sexual. Whilst everyone is entitled to their own sexual preferences, the laws of Guyana prohibit sexual activities with a child under the age of 16. Additionally, Guyana is the only country in South America where homosexual acts are still illegal. Under the law of homosexual acts carry a possible punishment of life imprisonment. According to Child Care and Protection Agency, the matter has been reported and investigations are ongoing. Reporting for Channel 2 Headline News, I'm Esther Sobers.
Join us after the break where we take a look at regional news, international news, and more. Stay with us.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
For the best Creole food in town, come to Ridley's Restaurant. Taste our hot meals, fresh bread, and sweet pastries. Our spacious dining hall is free for all occasions. For reservations and more, call 226-2518 or 225-7245. We're open Monday to Saturday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Wrigley's Restaurant, located at 38 Robb Street, Laceytown, between King and Wellington Streets. For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Ridley's Restaurant. Tasty and healthy eating. Welcome back. And we now take a look at the region. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is in Argentina seeking support for tough action against Venezuela. Al Jazeera has more.
Washington regards Latin America as its backyard. That's why Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is here, where the US believes it should have an influence. But it's a region that often feels neglected by or is in conflict with the superpower to the north. A few years ago, Argentina, like many of its neighbours, was governed by left-of-centre leaders, at odds with Washington and sympathetic to Venezuela's then-President Hugo Chavez. Not anymore. All want an end to the crisis in Venezuela. The question is, how?
So one of the aspects of considering sanctioning oil is what effect will it have on the Venezuelan people, and is it a step that might bring this to an end, to a more rapid end and a more rapid close? Because not doing anything to bring this to an end is also asking the Venezuelan people to suffer for a much longer time.
The Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro blames the United States and its allies for trying to undermine his socialist government.
They have inherited the arrogance, the imperial arrogance of believing that with a button, an order, a plan in English, the Bolivarian revolution is finished. With a declaration from the head of the empire calling me a dictator, it's over. The dictatorship has already fallen, as they call it. With a statement by Secretary of State Tillerson, we are going to surrender. They do not know us. They do not know our strength.
The Argentine President Mauricio Macri is now one of those in the region most critical of the Venezuelan government. And Mr. Tillerson wants to work with him.
All of us in the region want to see Venezuela return to its constitution. This is heart-wrenching to watch what is happening to the Venezuelan people.
Venezuela is suffering food and medicine shortages. Inflation is rampant, crime is rising, and thousands cross the borders every day in search of provisions for a better life. Mr. Tillerson's visit to Argentina is to show that Washington cares about Latin America, that the region's long-term interests lie with the United States and not with China or Russia. He praised the Argentine government's austerity-driven, investor-friendly economic model, much like that of the current US administrations. That's not something you would have heard a few years ago. The Secretary of State is emphasising where the two countries can cooperate. Trade, defence, fighting terrorism and drug trafficking. Not so much on immigration. There'll be similar bridge building when he moves on to Peru and Colombia. Daniel Schweiner, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
And internationally, a study of polar bears on dwindling Arctic sea ice finds they are losing weight when they should be packing on the pounds. Some bears lost 3 to 5 pounds a day at a time when they normally get heavier. Scientists say global warming is to blame. AP News has more.
Call it a climate change diet that isn't good for the bears. A new study by the United States Geological Survey, published in the journal Science, finds polar bears are shedding pounds at a time they're supposed to be beefing up because climate change is shrinking the ice cover on the Arctic Ocean.
That's why you see the chin of the bear right here.
Study co-author George Durner says many of these bears aren't getting enough food to meet their energy needs. To maintain weight, the Arctic animals need to capture one seal every 5 to 10 days.
If they don't do that, they're going to lose weight. And if they lose weight, then there are other things that come in play with their health, their ability to reproduce, and so forth.
The Associated Press traveled to the Arctic Circle last summer and found climate change is contributing to diminishing Arctic sea ice. With more sea ice melting earlier, the seals become harder to catch in the spring during prime hunting season.
If we cut that period short, say the sea ice melt occurs earlier in the summer, then we're essentially pulling the rug out from underneath the polar bears, and they don't have that platform any longer to capture seals.
The study tracked 9 single adult female polar bears with high-tech collars that resemble a mammal Fitbit. For the first time, every move of the free-range polar bear was monitored for about 10 days. Researchers did this for 3 different Aprils, showing how the animal is adapting or not to the changing environment.
You see these bears walking across all sorts of sea ice. You see them preparing a hole to capture seals from. You see them diving through thin ice after seals, and underwater, from the bear's point of view, you see a seal swimming away from it.
Blood samples were also taken. The data shows polar bears on the ice may be using more energy and have a higher metabolism than previously thought. About half of the bears studied lost 10% or more of their body weight.
Things are getting likely to get worse before they're going to get better.
In the long run, climate change is not good for our polar bears' energy balance. If this pattern continues, it could mean smaller bears and fewer cubs for an Arctic species that is already threatened. Kathy Young, Associated Press.
And that's headline news for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to find Channel 2 Headline News on Facebook and YouTube. You can also tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30 for a rebroadcast, and Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock for more news. For now, I'm George Gonzalez, signing out from this newscast, saying thank you for welcoming us into your homes, and do have a blessed evening.